world, and welcome to another ENF Talk, LFR video podcast. I'm the man who just bought a PlayStation 4 so that he can get access to the PlayStation Network so that he can watch the Powers TV show. And now I'm about to sell that PlayStation 4 because, oh boy, did I not do a good job with that investment. I'm Paul Ashman, and I'm joined by the man who will be joining us once he finishes his tamed tiger eye tofu food over there. It's Jesse Grabowski. Hi, Jesse.
What's up? I do have I've got some dog, a little bit of cat. It's gonna be good. I got a real feast over here.
Hey, by the way, are you interested in purchasing a PlayStation 4?
I am actually. I was gonna make that joke. So I was gonna purchase a PlayStation 4 just to play Persona 5. And
Okay. I don't know what
yeah,
that is, but I'll assume it's a video game.
it's a video game. It's my favorite video game series. Persona 3, Persona 4. These were games for the PlayStation 2 that were really cool. It took all the best elements of a dating simulator with all the best elements of Final Fantasy and just smushed them together. And for some reason, that really tickled my fantasy. Yeah,
Spoke to you, huh?
absolutely. It's
So,
like you have to get a high school girlfriend, and like by making her love you, it makes your monster more powerful, and so you can kill the guys in the dungeon. It's like really innovative stuff, man. Really innovative stuff. So, and I'm not being. This is not at all shtick, by the way. I love this game. This is actually what it is, and I'm going to purchase a PlayStation 4 just to play Persona 5, and I would love to buy yours.
okay. Yeah, because, so do you know about the Powers comic book by Brian Michael Bendis?
I know it's the best comic book ever written, but otherwise
Because,
I don't know anything about it.
sure, sure. So they made a TV show, and it was going to be on FX, which I get because I have a satellite dish, but FX didn't want a terrible TV show, so they retooled it and launched it on the PlayStation Network, and, I guess there's torrents or something, but being a Luddite that I am, it seemed like a perfectly fine idea to just go out there, buy the PlayStation 4, get the PlayStation Network thing, hook it all up, and watch this show. And now I'm 5 episodes in, and I realize that I'm not actually watching a TV show so much as I'm watching just complete nonsense. So I think we're done with that.
Do you enjoy being a marketer's dream? That like when they put it on the PlayStation Network, when PlayStation paid some nominal fee, they thought to themselves, like, well, this is real star power. This is a draw. How many people love this? And so at least a couple
It
guys
had
are gonna buy
so
PlayStations and get the
It's a
PlayStation Network just for
beloved
this.
property, a legitimately good property, maybe the only good thing Brian Michael Bendis has done, unless you really like Spider-Man and Wolverine on the Avengers together. But that's a different rant. Let's not go completely off the rail. But it's got cheerleader Copley from District 9. He's an actor of some skill, and I really like the girl they picked for Dina Pilgrim. She, spunky, sassy black girl. I was like, yeah, that could work. And then I watched the show, and it's just sort of like
What
miserable.
is this?
Eddie Izzard's in it as the wolf, and I mean, it's not the worst show I've ever seen because my ex-friend, he's no longer my friend because Ryan Robbins totally got me to watch American Horror Story once. So I mean, like that's just. I gotta talk to him. Glee ended sort of unceremoniously at some point. He's a big Ryan Murphy guy. I don't know if that impacted him at all. I don't know
You're
if he
losing
actually
me here,
watched.
man. You're
So
turning a little fast. The
it's getting
yeah
it's getting away from us.
the bed of the
So
truck's starting
anyway,
to tip a little
L5R
bit.
is a game that I play sometimes.
That's right. His cards,
Only
they're
some.
made of paper and there's ink on them. I'll go first. I'm going first. I'm stealing the thunder from you. I'm going to take the initiative and talk about my
Oh,
spider deck. So I just wanted to build a spider deck. This is like a first draft. We played a couple games, but the more and more 20 festivals I play, the more I realize that this is a wide format. So I'm going to steal a little bit from civilization jargon here. We talk in that game about sort of building wide, where you get like lots and lots of little cities, or building tall, where you have like 3 or 4 like super duper cities. And so in L5R, we think about buying lots and lots of little guys and attacking, or buying 1 or 2 guys and strapping them up. And I think that tall strategies coming into 20 festivals are dead. Like the super unit idea of like loading up one guy and going up these provinces just doesn't work the way it did in post Ivory or in late Ivory for a number of reasons. A lot of it has to do with metagame shift. And when you make declarations like this, people say, like, well, what's the card that's doing it? And there's not really one card that's doing it. It's more just that it's not the same. We're not playing the same cards in the same combination we were. The same factions aren't good. They lost these innocuous little pieces here and there. But the bottom line, I think, is where you want to be something like Mantis, Sheikah, or just like lots of cheap guys with a really streamlined gold scheme and just cranking stuff out and having lots of resiliency in your army because it's like a lot. It's a very take actiony format. So Spider, as it turns out, has a bunch of 5 gold for 3 force guys, and so I decided like, hey, let's put them all into a deck and see what happens. Shiho and Teirao remain two of my favorite personalities ever, and they're two guys that continue. They just keep pushing me straight into Spider, so easy sell. And then I'm just playing a bunch of other dudes. Meguro is a little bit better than he looks. I think that -2 force token can be really troll lolly. Here's just some force. Here's a Destin guy. Kagito and Sandayo is a wombo combo to pay 3 gold to straighten a personality. Woohoo! And here's a 1 for 1 gold scheme that is completely unremarkable. On the Fate side, I'm playing some Shugenja stuff where Wrath of Asano will redirecting range, basically just ways to make ranged attacks with Unholy Strike. And then a little bit of Send Home Package, a little bit of Don't Get Sent Home Package, some straighten effects. In Dirty Tricks, Akura's Release is just another ranged 4 off my box. Banish All Shadows, and then a couple attachments because I feel like that's where you're going to be in a few ranks because I'm playing Kagito. I've been a little bit flipped, but this is like a super duper straightforward military deck. If I were a designer and I were putting out a learn to play product, this is pretty close to what I would end up putting out.
Yeah, I could see that. It's got some pretty, not complex interactions, but you sort of when you discover like put down a weapon and then straighten my guy, you feel very like, look, I've unlocked something, and I think that's pretty neat. So yeah, it looks like a really good deck. I can't believe you're playing Teirao and not Ninja Ambush Guy, because that's where all my Spider decks begin and often end. Because
I tried. You were there, man.
Oh, I'm there.
I'm
still doing it. I haven't given up the ghost, but. I am playing Complete Insanity on my end. This is sort of like 2 concept decks, Russian engineered together. Russian engineering, a phrase from Warren Ellis's Ultimate Run on Galactus, which is coming to an end soon. Wow, I'm just going I'm off topic, man, today. I'm veering off.
You do, man.
I'm taking Lion Arani Sensei. Arani Sensei is a really great sensei for Lion, but they won't play it because they're all madly in love with this idea of starting at 7 honor, when a lot of times starting at 6 is just fine, especially now when you can flip your box over and just have a nice solid 8 province strength with it. Lions still have really good gold. So Arani Sensei to powers Sun Returns and Death of the Winds, and you can just play a straight Lion deck with it. But that's not special snowflake enough. I was out there in the sun as a snowflake, and I felt like I was still melting. I needed a little bit more glitter, so I decided to jam in with the Seasoned Ronin deck. And for those of you who don't know, we talked about this a little bit in our 20 Festivals card breakdown, but this Seasoned Ronin ability can be really, really oppressive, right? Like it can be plus 10 force, because all you need is a bunch of Ronin cards. And it turns out there's a lot. There's Danaku and Tarao and Banished and Miyokin and Harobe. Hey, they all have Ronin. And so do all my followers. Boyo Spearman and Victorious Waveman and, of course, Band of Brothers. And then Keira, which will just get me, turns into another Ronin. So when you do the Season Ronin thing, it can be pretty impressive. It can say battle action, give everything +1 force, which, yeah, okay, you can do that with Shugenja spell now for free, but whatever. Don't take my joy away from me, okay? So I've sort of combined these 2 concepts. The unaligned deck, these decks are all really good. You can play with Shugenja or you can not. And they're good because you get Honored Sensei, and you can get really smooth gold with that. It's another clan holding here. So I've taken the Season Ronin unaligned military deck, and I've jammed it with Arani, and that feels pretty snowflake, but I can do better. And I decided to do better by just going Insanity on the toolbox. So I'm going to scroll kind of slowly. So, 1 Inspired Leadership to copy a Season Ronin, 1 Unholy Strike because it's a good card, 1 Dirty Tricks, 1 Desperate Struggle, 1 Serenity, 1, 1, 1, 1. A lot of ones. You have to take a look at the deck list. 1 Wedge because it's just, I love that art. And, when you give all your guys a bonus and then give them another bonus and then you wedge and you game and you force, you're just like, I'm the king of L5R. So There are different approaches to toolbox. Some people like the toolbox of like just super awesome silver bullets. This isn't really that. There's a little bit more method to the madness here. You know, bleak lands and contentious terrain. They're different cards. They play fits with the Scorpion box, but they're still just sort of terrains that give you force. Um, you know, Serenity versus Unholy Strike, still just sort of ranged attacks. One Desperate Throw, that's my only unstoppable ranged attack, and Serenity. Desperate Throw is a send home. I don't have a lot of send home, but the one I do have is unstoppable. And then I've got, you know, like one Dirty Tricks, one Relentless. These are just straight in effects, that kind of thing. There's like one Chasing Osana Wall, one to redirect in range. So it's kind of a one-off special, but it's not. You don't have the sort of super powerful haymakers where you can just play 3 soup strats just to get your one Ijutsu duel, because when you play one Ijutsu duel, you win. But it is toolboxy, obviously, because it's a toolbox. There's a lot of room for changing it up. And then the last part of the special snowflakeness is Kitsu Suzuki, because she's awesome, and she gives you this really hilarious, like, you know, we get 2 provinces to 2 provinces, or 1 province to 1 province, or even 3 provinces to 3, and I can just sort of sit here and play defense and sort of win through honor off Suzaki's and making a bunch of guys. It just gives the deck another really interesting element. So this is my Lion Arani Sensei Ronin Infinite Guys toolbox deck, because sometimes you got to do something a little different.
Or 3 things a little different.
Or 4 things a little different.
It's worth noting that the seasoned Ronin ability is better than the spell ability, just because followers super matter.
Yeah.
And like
and Band of Brothers and Victorious Waveman are both fine followers, independent, right? Like they're just fine.
And Shigenja, there are some Shigenja followers you can reach for if you want to use the spell in the same sort of way, but they're so terrible. And the fact that you can just use this unit, the fact that he's 5 gold for 3 force in and of himself, and he's a body as opposed to just being this wonky little fake card that hangs out and doesn't do much of anything.
And you know, the Band of Brothers, it's worth mentioning that you know, the followers it creates are pretty cool too, right? It creates Ronin followers off 20 festivals now, so like that's a little bit of a difference.
Yeah.
So.
And the other comment I had about the toolboxing was just that I've never been sold on it, since you talked about haymakers. I don't know what haymakers exist. Like there is no Aijutsu duel. There is no
Courage was a card people used. There used to be a card called Courage.
Right. And so I think in formats like this, toolbox can suffer a little bit because you're putting diversity in your deck just for the sake of diversity, when you could just be running 3 off. Like there is a best make a ranged attack card, and like that's a solvable question. And once you solve it, you should just be running 3 copies of that.
Sure, but that's just not nearly as much fun. And there's some cards, like I have one Your True Nature, right? Like this maybe isn't a card I want in triplicate, but I want access to it at some point. Determined Challenge is another one of those cards. So there are some cards that are, the effects are uncommon or a little bit different that you don't want them in triplicate, but you want access to them. So that's a good use of the toolbox.
For sure. Okay. I mean, I'm not sold on it. I'm just pointing out, and I could be wrong, that there is a best sort of, like the Serenity is better than.
No, yeah, I think as I tighten this up, things like my one Breaking the Rhythm and my one Way of the Line will probably just become like, here's another Unholy Strike, here's another Serenity, here's another just straight playable card. Like I could definitely see that.
All right, let's jam them together.